My husband pretended he was sick and drained our savings to pay for surgery for his secret other family. When I found out, I threw him out of the house. Now he's returned saying this time he's really dying and needs me by his side. But I don't know if I can ever trust him again. You know that gut-wrenching feeling when your entire world shatters? Mine exploded the day I thought my husband was dying, only to discover he'd been living a double life. A second family for years. The betrayal. It was a blow that knocked the air right out of my lungs, a twist so sick it still makes my stomach churn. It all started so suddenly. My husband, Tyler, collapsed right there on our front porch, just crumpled to the ground. In that moment, after 12 years of marriage, I genuinely believed I was losing him. We'd met at a friend's wedding, instantly clicked. Everyone loved Tyler and I adored him. He was my person. He'd been sick for a while. Stomach issues, fatigue, migraines, and doctors just blamed stress. But when he passed out, I wasn't taking any chances. The ambulance screamed to our house, and I followed them to the ER, my heart pounding in my chest. I sat in that freezing waiting room, his wallet and keys clutched in my lap, trying desperately not to fall apart. All I could think about was how I'd yelled at him that very morning for leaving his socks under the coffee table. It's those stupid, mundane things you replay when you think someone you love is slipping away. They admitted him for tests, and I spent the night in a hard, uncomfortable chair, barely sleeping. The next morning, the doctor said it looked like it might be a digestive issue, something chronic like Crohn's, but manageable. The relief that washed over me was immense, but it also left me completely drained. I headed home to shower and grab some clean clothes. That's when his phone started buzzing in my purse. His mom had been calling nonstop, worried sick. I unlocked it, his birthday of course, and went to text her an update. But then I saw it. A group chat. And one message just screamed at me. Tell the kids you're going to be fine. My stomach instantly twisted into a knot. I scrolled up, my heart starting to race, and there it was. My real ones. 5 people in that chat. Some saved with initials. Others with sickeningly sweet nicknames like Peanut and B. I clicked it open, my fingers trembling, a cold dread creeping through me. There were messages from someone named K. Kids made you a get well card. I'll drop it off after work. I scrolled up further, my breath catching in my throat. Months of messages, photos of 2 kids, birthday cakes. And then a picture of my Tyler in what was clearly someone else's kitchen, wearing an apron that read Grill King. He was hugging a woman I'd never seen before, her hand resting on his chest, so intimate. I backed out of the chat, my mind reeling. There were direct messages from K too. One from just 2 days ago. Still can't believe you went home to her. Just tell me if you're staying or not. My chest got so tight I couldn't breathe. I sank onto the edge of our bed, staring at the wall, a profound icy numbness spreading through my body. I didn't even cry. I just felt nothing. My whole body had forgotten how to feel. After a few minutes of just sitting there, numb and dazed, I went back into that group chat, my fingers moving on autopilot. I started screenshotting everything, sending it all to myself. Proof. I needed proof. When I got back to the hospital, he was awake, pale and weak. I forced a smile, kissed his forehead, and asked if he needed anything. He smiled back, a tired, sweet smile, and said he just wanted to go home. I told him I'd bring him clean clothes tomorrow, my own smile a brittle mask. I spent that entire night on the couch, laptop open, a glass of wine untouched beside me. I was a detective in my own life, searching every name in that chat. Kay had a Facebook. Private, of course, but her profile picture, there it was. Her and Tyler at a pumpkin patch with a little girl maybe 9 and a boy maybe 5. Both had Tyler's nose. I saved that photo. Then I found an old Christmas video, tagged, Family Tradition. Tyler was in it, holding the boy, helping him open a gift. He was wearing the same watch he'd worn on our last anniversary. I wanted to scream, to throw things, to shatter every illusion I'd lived under for 12 years. But I didn't. I just sat there replaying every single lie, every working late, every missed dinner, every solo trip. It all clicked, adding up into this sick, twisted puzzle of deception. The next morning, I went back to the hospital with his clean clothes. I didn't say a word. Just helped him get dressed, drove us home like everything was normal. I tucked a blanket around him, kissed his forehead, played the dutiful wife. Then, with a casualness I didn't feel, I picked up his phone from the charger. I need this to call the pharmacy. I said, my voice steady. From his phone I texted Kay. Just got home. What's on the card? She replied instantly. They drew a big heart and wrote "We love you, Daddy" in the middle, she said. She added she'd drop it off soon and asked if I was home. I typed no and went to wait by the window, my heart hammering. An hour later her car pulled up. Kay was there, and with her the little girl from the pumpkin patch picture. The boy stayed in the car. I opened the door. Her smile vanished the moment she saw me. Her eyes widened, looking at me like I'd pulled a knife. "You must be Kay," I said, my voice dangerously calm. She didn't respond, just stared. "You can leave the card." Slowly she set it down. The little girl looked up, confused. That's when I dropped the bomb. "Your dad's inside," I said, my gaze unwavering. "But I don't think he'll be coming back to your house anymore." The girl started to cry. Kay, shocked and silent, grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the car. She didn't say another word, just drove away. When I walked back inside, Tyler was sitting up, his phone clutched in his hand. He looked like he already knew. "You weren't supposed to find out," he said, his voice weak. "No," I replied, my voice hard. "I wasn't." He didn't defend himself, didn't try to explain. He just sat there. I told him to pack a bag. "You can go stay with your sister or your second family," I said, my voice laced with ice. Dealer's choice. 20 minutes later he was gone. That was 2 weeks ago. I thought I could just let it go. But I couldn't. Instead, I decided to dig deeper to see just how deep Tyler's lies really ran. That first week I couldn't sleep. I tore through our bank statements, scrutinized every credit card charge, trying to piece together where he'd been all those times he said he was working late. Hotel charges in the next town over. Restaurant receipts for 2 movie tickets on nights he claimed to be swamped. The more I looked, the angrier I got, but I had to know everything. I called the hospital, asked for his medical records. The woman on the phone said I'd need to fill out forms. The next day I drove there, sat in the records office for an hour. They kept asking if I was sure I wanted them. "Yes," I insisted. They finally handed me a thick manila folder. I sat in my car in the parking lot and opened it. The discharge summary was short, brutally to the point. Dehydration, anxiety. No chronic conditions found. No digestive issues. Nothing that matched what he'd been telling me for months. I read it 3 times, my mind reeling. He wasn't sick. He'd never been sick. All those doctor appointments, all those times I drove him, all those nights I stayed up worrying, it was all a fake. A twisted, elaborate lie. I drove home and immediately called Kay. I'd grabbed her number from Tyler's phone before he left. She answered on the 3rd ring. "This is my name," I said. She went quiet. "I don't want to talk to you," she finally said. "I just have one question," I insisted. "Did Tyler tell you he was sick?" A long pause. Then, "Yes." She said he told her he had cancer. Terminal. That's why the kids made the card. That's why she'd been so understanding about him spending time with me, with his ex-wife. She thought he was trying to make peace before he died. I told her about the hospital records. She didn't believe me at first. I offered to send her copies. That's when she started crying. She said she'd been saving money for his treatment. Said the kids had been preparing to lose their dad. We talked for an hour. She told me they'd been together 8 years, met at his job. She thought I was his ex-wife who wouldn't let go. He'd told her we'd been divorced for years, but I kept threatening to hurt myself if he didn't visit. She believed him. Why wouldn't she? Tyler was a master manipulator. That night I checked our joint savings account. Found a $10,000 withdrawal from 3 days before he collapsed. The memo said medical expenses. Now I knew there were no medical expenses. I called the bank. He'd withdrawn it in cash. No way to trace where it went. I started making a list. 2 families, fake illness, missing money. It was like a bad movie, but it was my life. I texted Tyler about the money. No response. The next day, nothing. I drove to his sister's house, where he said he'd be staying. She answered the door looking confused. Said she hadn't seen him in months. I showed her the texts. She shook her head. "He must have lied about that too," she said. I sat in my car outside her house trying to think. Where would he go? Then I remembered something Kay had mentioned. He'd talked about a cabin, someplace his buddy owned up north. Said he wanted to take the kids there for spring break. I called Kay back, asked for more details. She said it was near some lake, maybe 2 hours away. His friend Paul owned it. I knew Paul. We'd had dinner with him and his wife last year. I found Paul's number in my contacts. Called and said I was trying to reach Tyler. Paul sounded weird, hesitant. Said he hadn't talked to Tyler in weeks. I knew he was lying. I know Tyler is at your cabin, I said, my voice firm. Paul got quiet. Then he admitted Tyler had asked him not to tell anyone, said he needed time to think. I told Paul about the other family, about the fake illness, about the missing money. Paul didn't say anything for a long time. Then he gave me the address. Tyler had been there for 3 days alone. I thanked him and hung up. Part of me just wanted to file for divorce and disappear. But $10,000 was half our savings. And I wanted answers. Real answers, not more lies. I decided to drive up there the next morning, confront him, get my money back, get closure. Whatever that meant. I barely slept. My mind raced with what I'd say, how I'd say it. The next morning I got up early, made coffee, looked at the address. It was definitely remote. Middle of nowhere. I started to feel nervous. What if he got violent? He'd never hurt me before, but I'd never caught him in a lie this big. I texted my sister the address, told her I was going to talk to Tyler, and if she didn't hear from me by evening, to call someone. She texted back immediately, "Don't go alone. It's not safe." I told her I'd be fine. I just needed to do this. The drive was longer than I expected. My GPS kept losing signal once I got off the main highway. I had to stop at a gas station to ask for directions. The old guy behind the counter knew the area. Said the lake was another 40 minutes up a dirt road. "Not many people go up there this time of year," he observed, watching me like he was trying to figure me out. I didn't explain. Just bought water, snacks, filled up my tank and kept driving. The road got worse, potholes everywhere, trees hanging low. I started second-guessing myself. Maybe my sister was right. Maybe this was stupid. But I kept going. Finally, I saw the cabin through the trees. Smaller than I expected. Just a basic wooden structure with a wraparound porch. Tyler's car was parked out front. My hands started shaking. I pulled up next to it, sat there for a minute trying to calm down. I got out and walked to the front door, knocked. No answer. I knocked again, louder. I heard movement inside. Then Tyler opened the door. He looked terrible. Unshaven, hair a mess. He was wearing the same shirt from when he'd left our house. He just stared at me. I stared back. Neither of us said anything for what felt like forever. Then he stepped aside and let me in. The cabin was dark, smelled like old wood and dust. Beer bottles littered the coffee table. A sleeping bag was on the couch. He'd been living like a college kid. I sat in a chair across from him. He sat on the couch, still silent. "The money, Tyler," I finally said, my voice low. He rubbed his face. "I needed it for something important." "What?" I pressed. "It was complicated," he mumbled. "I know about the fake illness." I cut him off, my voice rising. "About what you told Kay. About all of it." He looked at the floor. I waited. He finally said he never meant for it to get this bad. Said it started small and just kept growing. "Explain," I demanded. He said it started when he met Kay at a work conference. They hit it off. He didn't tell her he was married. By the time he wanted to, she was pregnant. He panicked, made up a story about being divorced, said I was his crazy ex who wouldn't move on. The illness thing started later, an excuse for why he couldn't always be there, why he had to leave suddenly, why he missed birthdays and holidays. Cancer seemed believable, he said, his voice flat. People don't question cancer. "The money, Tyler," I repeated. He got quiet again. Then he said Kay's son needed surgery, something with his ears. Insurance wouldn't cover all of it. "I couldn't let my kids suffer," he said. "So I took it from our account." I felt sick. All this lying, all this deception, and for what? To keep two families in the dark? To play dad and husband in two different houses? "How did you think this would end?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He said he didn't think that far ahead. I stood up. "I want my money back." "I don't have it," he said. "Already gave it to Kay for the surgery." I demanded proof. He pulled out his phone, showed me bank transfers, medical bills, pictures of the kid in the hospital. The surgery was real at least. I sank back down, my head spinning. What else have you lied about? I asked. Nothing else, he insisted. I laughed. Actually laughed, a hollow bitter sound. How could I believe anything he said now? I want a divorce, I told him. He nodded. I figured. I told him he needed to tell Kay the truth. All of it. He said he would. I didn't believe him. I'll tell her myself if you don't, I warned. Okay, he said. We sat in silence for a while. Why Tyler? I finally asked. Why do all this? Why not just pick one life? He looked at me, his eyes tired. I loved us both, he said. Loved both families. Couldn't choose. That's not love, I told him, standing up. That's selfishness. He didn't argue. I turned to leave. Wait, he said. I have something to show you. He went to the bedroom and came back with a box. Inside were photos. Hundreds of them. Pictures of me, of us, our wedding, vacations, random moments from our life together. And then pictures of Kay and the kids. Same kinds of moments, a different life. He said he'd brought them here to figure out what to do, staring at them for days, trying to choose. I pushed the box back at him. You already chose, Tyler, I said. When you started lying. He nodded, looking utterly defeated. I left without saying goodbye. Drove back down that dirt road trying not to cry. Failed. Had to pull over twice to get myself together. When I finally got cell signal, I had dozens of texts from my sister. I told her I was fine coming home. That night I called Kay and told her everything. She didn't believe me at first. I sent her photos of our wedding certificate, our mortgage papers, pictures of Tyler and me from last Christmas. She went quiet. Then she started asking questions. How long had I known? Why didn't I tell her sooner? Was any of what Tyler told her true? We talked for 3 long hours, comparing stories, matching up timelines, figuring out exactly how much he'd lied to both of us. It was worse than either of us imagined. He created entire fictional histories, fake friends, fake family drama. Anything to explain his absences. Kay told me about the surgery for her son Jerry. It was real. He'd been having hearing problems for months, and the surgery cost $12,000. Insurance covered some. Tyler had given her the rest, claiming he'd been saving for months. Now she knew where it really came from. She felt terrible, kept apologizing. I told her it wasn't her fault. She didn't know. How could she? Tyler was good at lying. Years of practice. We were both his victims. We agreed to meet in person, a neutral coffee shop halfway between our houses. I got there first, found a corner booth and watched the door. She walked in looking as nervous as I felt. We recognized each other from the photos. Awkward doesn't even begin to describe it. She sat down. We just stared at each other. Then she started crying. I handed her napkins. It's okay, I said, my own eyes welling up. It's not, she sobbed. My kids thought their dad was dying. I was preparing them for the worst. Now I have to tell them it was all lies. We talked about practical things. Custody, finances, how to handle Tyler. She said he'd been texting her, begging to see the kids. She hadn't responded, didn't know what to say. I told her about the cabin, our conversation. She shook her head, said she couldn't believe she fell for it. I asked about the kids, how they were handling it. She said they didn't know yet. She was trying to figure out how to tell them. Natalie, the girl, was old enough to understand. Jerry, the boy, was too young. He'd just be confused. We exchanged numbers, agreed to stay in touch, to work together on the divorce stuff, to make sure Tyler couldn't manipulate either of us anymore. It was weird, bonding with my husband's other wife. But we needed each other. We were the only ones who truly understood. I went home and started packing Tyler's things. Everything he'd left behind. Clothes, books, that stupid watch he wore to both our anniversaries. I put it all in boxes, labeled them, stacked them in the garage. I wanted every trace of him gone. My sister came over that night, brought wine and ice cream, let me rant for hours. She'd never liked Tyler, said something about him always felt off. I wished I'd listened, but hindsight's always 20/20th. The next few days were a blur. I met with a lawyer, started divorce paperwork, froze our joint accounts, changed the locks, all the things you're supposed to do. It felt mechanical, like I was going through motions. Tyler kept trying to contact me, calls, texts, emails. I didn't respond. Kay said he was doing the same to her, showing up at her house, leaving flowers, acting like nothing happened. She threatened to call the police if he didn't stop. He backed off after that. I went back to work the next week, tried to pretend everything was normal. My coworkers knew something was wrong. I just said Tyler and I were having problems, didn't elaborate. Didn't want to be the office gossip, but word got out anyway. Small town people talk. Soon everyone knew about the two families, the fake cancer, the whole messy saga. I started getting looks everywhere I went. Pity, curiosity, judgment. I hated all of it. Kay had it worse. She worked at the school where her kids went. Parents started whispering. Kids asked her daughter questions. She ended up taking time off, said she couldn't handle the stares. We met for coffee again, compared notes on the gossip. Laughed about how absurd it all was. It felt good to laugh, even about something so messed up. She said people kept asking her if she knew, like she was somehow complicit. I got the same questions. Like we should have figured it out sooner. Tyler's sister reached out. Said he was staying with a friend in another state. Randy something. Said he wanted to explain his side. I told her I didn't care about his side. She said he was falling apart, drinking too much, not eating. I said that wasn't my problem anymore, but a part of me did care. 12 years is a long time. You can't just turn off feelings like a switch. I hated him for what he did, but I also missed the person I thought he was. The Tyler who made me laugh, who knew how I liked my coffee, who held me when my dad died. Was any of that real? Or was it all just another performance? Kay struggled with the same questions. She said the Tyler she knew was a great father. Patient, loving, always there for the kids, except he wasn't always there. Half his life was with me. How could he be a great father when he was living a double life? We decided to hire a private investigator. Not to spy on Tyler, but to make sure there weren't more surprises, more families, more lies. It seemed paranoid, but we'd already been fooled once. The PI's name was Alan, a retired cop. Seemed trustworthy. We gave him everything we had. Photos, documents, a timeline of Tyler's lies. He said he'd look into it. 2 weeks later, Alan called, said he found something. We met at Kay's house, kids were at school. Alan pulled out a folder. Inside were credit reports, bank statements, and photos of Tyler with another woman. Recent photos from after he'd left both of us. Her name was Michelle. Lived 2 states over. They'd been seen together multiple times. Restaurants, movies, walking in a park. Alan said it looked like Tyler was starting over again. New town, new woman, new life. I felt numb. Kay looked furious. She grabbed the photos, stared at them. This woman looked young, maybe mid-20s, blonde, pretty, completely unaware of what she was getting into. Alan said there was more. He'd found social media posts, Michelle calling Tyler her boyfriend, pictures of them from a few weeks ago, right after he'd left the cabin. He hadn't spent any time falling apart. He just moved on to the next victim. Kay threw the photos on the table. We have to warn her, she exclaimed. I agreed. This Michelle person deserved to know what kind of man she was dating. Alan said he could help us contact her, had her information. We told him to set it up. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about Michelle. Did Tyler tell her he was divorced, widowed? Did he have a new sob story, a new illness? How long before he started the same cycle with her? Kay called the next day, said she'd told the kids about the divorce. Not all the details. Just that Daddy had made some bad choices and wouldn't be living with them anymore. Natalie had questions. Jerry just wanted to know if Daddy was still sick. Kay said no. He seemed relieved. We met Michelle that weekend. Alan had reached out, told her we had information about Tyler she needed to hear. She agreed to meet, seemed confused but curious. We picked a restaurant in her town, a public, safe place. She showed up looking nervous, young, hopeful. It broke my heart. Kay and I introduced ourselves. Her face changed immediately. Tyler had mentioned ex-wives, plural. Said we were both crazy stalkers who couldn't let go. We showed her everything. Marriage certificates, photos, the medical records showing his fake illness, the timeline of his lies. She sat there taking it all in. Not saying anything, just looking at paper after paper. Finally, she looked up. Asked if this was some kind of joke. We said no. She said Tyler told her we'd do this, try to break them up, make up stories. She didn't believe us. Got up to leave. Kay grabbed her arm, begged her to listen. Michelle pulled away, said we were pathetic. Said Tyler was right about us. Then she left. We sat there feeling defeated. We tried. She didn't want to hear it. Alan said it wasn't our fault. Some people need to learn for themselves, but it felt like failure. Another woman walking into Tyler's web. Another family that might get destroyed. We paid the check and left. The divorce proceedings started the next month. Tyler hired a lawyer, tried to claim he deserved half of everything. My lawyer laughed. Adultery and fraud tend to hurt those claims, she said. Tyler backed down, agreed to a basic split. I kept the house. He kept his car and personal items. Kay's divorce was messy. Kids involved. Custody battles. Tyler wanted partial custody. Kay fought it, said he couldn't be trusted. The judge ordered supervised visits. Tyler had to see the kids at a center with a social worker present. I ran into him at the grocery store during all this. First time I'd seen him since the cabin. He looked different. Thinner, new haircut, nice clothes. Putting on a show for Michelle probably. He tried to talk to me. I walked away. He followed. I'm sorry, he said. I never meant to hurt anyone. I turned around, told him to stop, said his apologies meant nothing. He said he was getting help, therapy, working on himself. I laughed right in his face. Therapy can't fix what's wrong with you, Tyler, I said. He looked hurt, like I was the one who'd wronged him. I left my cart and walked out. Sat in my car shaking. Angry at myself for letting him get to me. Angry at him for existing. Angry at everything. I called Kay, told her what happened. She said he'd been sending her letters. Long rambling things about redemption and forgiveness. She burned them all. The investigator called a week later. Michelle had reached out. Wanted to meet again. Apparently she'd done her own digging. Found inconsistencies in Tyler's stories. Wanted to know more. We agreed to meet her. This time was different. She looked tired, worried. Said Tyler had been acting strange, secretive. Getting calls he wouldn't explain, leaving suddenly. All familiar patterns. She'd found a receipt in his jacket. A hotel in another town. The same date he told her he was visiting his sick mother. We told her everything, every detail, every lie, every manipulation. She listened, asked questions, started crying when we showed her the photos from the cabin. All those pictures of 2 different lives. She said he'd told her he didn't have any photos from his past. Said his ex-wives had destroyed them all. She broke up with him that night, called us after. Said he denied everything at first. Then, when she showed him what we'd given her, he changed tactics. Said we were conspiring against him, that we were jealous, that we couldn't stand to see him happy. She didn't buy it. Told him to leave. He did. Kay and I felt relieved. We'd saved someone else from going through what we did, but it also felt hollow. Tyler would just move on, find someone new, start the cycle again. We couldn't save everyone. The divorce finalized a few months later. I got a text from Tyler the day mine went through. Just said, I'm sorry. I deleted it, blocked his number, tried to move forward. Kay had a harder time. The kids missed their dad. Even with everything, he was still their father. The supervised visits were hard on everyone. Jerry would cry when they ended. Natalie started acting out at school. Kay got them into therapy, tried to help them process it all. I started therapy too. Needed to understand how I'd missed so many signs. How I'd loved someone who didn't really exist. The therapist said it wasn't my fault, that people like Tyler were expert manipulators. That I'd loved who he pretended to be. It helped a little. 6 months after everything exploded, I got a call from an unknown number. Almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. It was a woman named Rachel. Said she was dating Tyler. Said Michelle had given her my number. Said she needed to know the truth. I met with her, went through the whole story again, showed her everything. She thanked me. Said Tyler had already started the same patterns. The sudden absences, the mysterious illnesses, the elaborate excuses. She ended it immediately. Kay and I started a Facebook group for Tyler's victims. Sounds dramatic, but that's what we were. Michelle joined, then Rachel. Then others started reaching out. Women who dated him years ago. Who'd noticed red flags but never understood what happened. We compared stories, found patterns, tried to make sense of it all. One woman, Donna, said Tyler had told her he was a widower. That his wife died in a car accident. That's why he couldn't commit. Another, Denise, said he claimed to be caring for his sick mother. Would leave for days to help her. The mother who'd been dead for 5 years by then. We found out about the money too. He'd borrowed from several women, small amounts, a few hundred here and there. Always paid back just enough to keep them trusting him, then hit them for bigger amounts before disappearing. The $10,000 from our account wasn't his first theft. Alan, the investigator, stayed in touch. Said Tyler had moved again. New state, new name variation. Going by his middle name now. Same patterns though. Already had a new girlfriend. We debated reaching out to her. Decided against it. We couldn't save everyone. Had to focus on healing ourselves. Kay's kids started doing better. Therapy helped. The supervised visits stopped when Tyler missed 3 in a row. Just didn't show up. Sent a text saying he was sick. Then nothing. The kids were hurt but also relieved. The uncertainty was harder than the absence. I sold the house. Too many memories. Bought a small condo downtown. Fresh start. New space. No ghosts. I dated a little. Nothing serious. Trust issues made it hard. Every time someone canceled plans or seemed secretive, I panicked, assumed the worst. Kay and I became actual friends. Weird how that happens. We'd meet for coffee every few weeks, check in, support each other. Our families thought it was strange, the 2 wives becoming friends, but we needed each other. No one else really understood. A year after everything, I got another call, this time from the police. Tyler had been arrested. Fraud charges. He'd been running an investment scam in his new town, promising returns, taking money, disappearing. Someone finally pressed charges. Kay and I went to the arraignment, sat in the back, watched him in handcuffs. He looked smaller, somehow older. When he turned and saw us, his face changed. Fear? Regret? I couldn't tell. We left before it ended, didn't need to see more. He got 2 years minimum security, white-collar crime. Kay explained it to the kids. They seemed indifferent. They'd already mourned the loss of their father. This was just confirmation he wasn't coming back. I thought I'd feel vindicated, justice served and all that, but I just felt empty. 2 years wasn't enough for what he'd done, but it was something. Maybe he'd finally face consequences. Maybe he'd change. I doubted it though. The Facebook group grew. More women found us, shared their stories. We became a support system, helping each other heal, warning others when we could. It wasn't much, but it felt like something positive from all the pain. I started dating someone new. Paul's friend, actually the one who'd given me the cabin address. His name was Jerry too. Different from Kay's son. He'd felt guilty about keeping Tyler a secret. Reached out to apologize. We got coffee, then dinner, then more. He was different from Tyler. Quiet, honest, bad at surprises because he couldn't keep secrets. I liked that about him. No mystery, no hidden life, just a decent guy who said what he meant. It was refreshing. Kay met someone too. A single dad from her kids' school. Timothy understood her situation. Had his own baggage from a messy divorce. They took it slow. Introduced the kids carefully. Seemed healthy, real. We still checked on Tyler sometimes through Alan, making sure he was where he was supposed to be. In prison, not hurting anyone new. It became a ritual every few months just to be sure. The kids grew. Jerry started playing soccer. Natalie got into art. They stopped asking about their dad. Stopped mentioning him. Kids adapt faster than adults. They had Timothy now, a steady presence, reliable. I married Jerry. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. Kay was there, brought the kids. Felt right. Like closing a chapter. Starting fresh. Tyler wasn't mentioned. Didn't need to be. That part of my life was over. Or so I thought. Tyler got out after 18 months. Good behavior. Of course. We found out from Alan. He'd been monitoring. Tyler went right back to it. New town, new woman, new lies. Some people never change. We warned who we could. Posted in the group, shared his new location, his new tactics. But he'd learned too. Better at hiding, using fake names, harder to track. We did what we could, but it felt like fighting smoke. I got pregnant. Unexpected but welcome. Jerry was thrilled. Painted the nursery soft yellow. Built a crib. Read parenting books out loud. Everything Tyler had never done or had done for 2 families. I tried not to compare, but it was hard not to. Kay called one night crying. Tyler had contacted Natalie through social media. Said he missed her, wanted to reconnect. Natalie was confused, angry. Didn't know how to respond. Kay was furious. How dare he reach out after abandoning them? We got lawyers involved. Cease and desist orders. Threats of restraining orders. Tyler backed off, but the damage was done. Natalie started asking questions again. Why did Dad leave? What did he do? Kay had to explain more than she'd wanted to. The baby came early, a girl. We named her Sarah. No family names, no connections to the past. Just a fresh start. Jerry was an amazing father. Present, devoted, everything I thought Tyler was, but real this time. Kay's kids struggled with the baby news. Not jealousy exactly. Just reminded them of what they'd missed. A normal family. A dad who stayed. Kay got them extra therapy sessions, helped them process. They came around eventually. Even babysat sometimes. 2 years passed. Life settled into rhythms. Work, baby, friends, normal problems, good problems. Then Michelle called out of the blue. Said Tyler had reached out to her, wanted to reconcile, apologize, make amends. She wanted our advice. We told her to run, block him, don't engage. She said he seemed different, changed. Prison had reformed him. We laughed, actually laughed, told her about Natalie, about the new woman, about the patterns that never stopped. She thanked us, blocked him that night, but it got me thinking. Tyler was still out there, still hurting people, still lying, still destroying lives. The Facebook group had dozens of members now. All his victims, all carrying scars. When would it end? I proposed something to the group. We couldn't stop him legally. Couldn't force him to change, but we could make it harder for him to hide. We started a website. His photo, his aliases, his tactics, warning others. Some said it was too much, vindictive, but most agreed. If it saved one person, it was worth it. The website went live on a Tuesday. Simple design, just facts, photos, testimonies, contact information for those who needed support. We shared it carefully. Targeted social media ads in areas where he'd been spotted. Word spread. Tyler's sister called me angry. Said we were ruining his life, making it impossible for him to start over. I told her that was the point. He'd ruined enough lives. She hung up. Never called again. But the website worked. Women started reaching out. Said they'd Googled him. Found our site. Ended things before they got serious. Felt like victory. Small but real. We were protecting people. Finally, Tyler tried to fight back. Lawyers sending letters, threats of lawsuits, but everything on the site was true, documented, provable. His lawyers backed down. He tried creating his own sites, claiming we were lying, stalking, harassing, but people saw through it. Kay met me for coffee on the anniversary. 3 years since that day at the hospital, since everything fell apart, or came together depending on how you looked at it. We toasted with lattes to survival, to friendship, to the weird ways life works out. She told me Timothy had proposed. She'd said yes. The kids were excited. A real wedding, a real family, no lies, no secrets, just love, honest and simple. I was happy for her. Really happy. I told her about Jerry's job offer. Another state. Fresh start completely. No chance of running into Tyler at the store. No memories on every corner. Just knew. She understood. Said she'd miss me, but understood. We talked about the website, the group, how it had grown beyond us, become something bigger. A community, a warning system, a support network. Neither of us had expected that, but trauma bonds people in strange ways. Tyler disappeared for a while after the website went quiet. Ellen lost track of him. We figured he'd moved somewhere remote, somewhere he could hide better, start over where no one knew to Google him. It made me nervous. Tyler planning was dangerous. Tyler desperate and planning was worse. But life went on. Michael started walking. Sarah started middle school. Emily learned to read. Normal problems, normal joys. The life I'd built was solid, real. Nothing like the fantasy with Tyler. Better because it was true. Kay's store won awards, local business of the year. She gave a speech, thanked her support system, her real family, the women who'd helped her rebuild. Didn't mention Tyler once. He didn't deserve space in her success story. The website hit 1 million visitors. News outlets wanted to cover it. We declined. Didn't need the attention, the drama. We just wanted to help women quietly, effectively, without fanfare. The work mattered more than recognition. Then Tyler surfaced. Arrested in Nevada. The business scam had caught up. Federal charges this time, wire fraud, identity theft, money laundering. The works. He'd gone big, failed big. Facing real time now. Decades, maybe. We went to the trial, Kay and I. Sat in the back, watched him in his cheap suit looking smaller, older, defeated. When he saw us, something flickered in his eyes. Regret? Anger? I couldn't tell. Didn't care. He got 15 years federal prison. No early release. No good behavior shortcuts. Real consequences. Finally, the judge called him a predator, a manipulator, a danger to society. We nodded, vindicated. Finally, the kids didn't want to know details, just that he was gone for good this time. They had lives to live, futures to build. No room for his shadow anymore. They'd outgrown him, outgrown the pain he'd caused. I published another book about recovery, about building after betrayal. It did well, helped more people, led to speaking engagements, workshops, a whole career built from surviving Tyler. Ironic in a way. Kay and Timothy renewed their vows. 10-year anniversary. The kids participated. Jerry gave a speech about real fathers, ones who show up, who stay, who choose family every day. Not a word about Tyler. He'd been erased, replaced, forgotten. Our group evolved, became a non-profit, official board funding employees. We could help more women, provide legal resources, therapy, referrals, safe houses. What started as survival became a mission. Tyler tried writing from prison. Letters to everyone, me, Kay, the kids, his sister, even women from the group. All playing victim, all claiming innocence, misunderstanding. We had a letter-burning party, therapeutic, cleansing, final. Sarah asked about him once, found old photos. I told her the truth, an age-appropriate version, about people who lie, who hurt others, who can't be trusted. She understood. Said she was glad we had Daddy Jerry instead. Me too, baby. Me too. The website expanded internationally, translations, local coordinators, a network of women protecting women, sharing information, preventing harm. Tyler had created this inadvertently. His legacy was our strength, our connection, our power. I retired from practice, focused on the nonprofit, writing, speaking, training others, teaching therapists about betrayal trauma, about predators like Tyler, about healing, about hope. Full circle, from victim to advocate. Kay's kids started families. Jerry married his college girlfriend, had twins, boys. Natalie adopted, a single mother by choice, strong like her mom, building families based on truth, love, choice. Everything Tyler had corrupted. We're grandmothers now, Kay and I. A weird bond, sharing grandkids who exist because we survived Tyler. Because we found each other, because we rebuilt. Our friendship outlasted his lies, stronger than his manipulation. Tyler will get out someday. An old man by then, but we'll be ready. The network will be ready. Stronger, wider, permanent. His kind of harm can't hide anymore. Technology, connection, truth, all working against predators like him. Sometimes I drive past our old house, the one I shared with Tyler. A new family lives there now. Kids playing in the yard. Normal life. And I'm grateful that my daughter will never know that kind of betrayal, that her father is exactly who he seems, that truth is her normal. The website hit 10,000 visitors. Messages of gratitude, stories of near misses, women who'd almost fallen for men like Tyler, who'd found us in time, who'd escaped. Each one felt like victory. We expanded again, resources for men too. Because Tyler wasn't unique to women. Predators came in all forms. Targeted anyone vulnerable, anyone trusting, anyone human. The support was universal. I wrote a book, Our Story, Kay's and mine and all the others. Anonymous but real. Publisher wanted drama, scandal. I gave them truth. Quieter but more powerful. Sold well, helped more people spread awareness. Tyler's mother died while he was in prison. We found out through Alan's replacement. Felt strange. She'd never known about the lies, the families, the crimes. Or maybe she had. Maybe she'd enabled, protected, excused. We'd never know. The kids graduated. Jerry got into college engineering. Natalie became an art teacher, following her passion, making her own way. They sent Tyler graduation announcements. No response. They didn't expect one, just closure. Kay and Timothy had a baby. Surprise pregnancy. A boy, named him David. The kids adored him. New brother, real family complete. No shadows, no secrets, no lies, just love. I spoke at conferences. About betrayal, about healing, about the importance of truth. Met other survivors, heard their stories, shared resources, built connections. The network grew beyond Tyler, beyond us, became something bigger. Tyler got out after 4 years. Early release again. Good behavior. The system never learns. Salem tracked him immediately. New city, new name, already on dating apps. Some patterns never break. We updated the website right away. New photos from his release. Current location. Latest alias. The alerts went out to our network within hours. Women were messaging us. They'd matched with him online. Recognized him from our warnings. Blocked him instantly. He tried harder this time. Better fake identity. Backstory about being a traveling nurse. Perfect excuse for irregular schedules. Moving around, being unavailable. He'd learned from his mistakes, or thought he had. But we'd learned too. Our network was stronger, wider. Women shared his profile in local Facebook groups, warning others. His matches dried up fast. He had to move again within a month. Kay's son Jerry graduated high school. Got into a good college engineering program. Tyler didn't come to graduation. Didn't send a card. Jerry didn't care anymore. Timothy was there. Had been there for everything. That's what mattered. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. It was Tyler. First time I'd heard his voice in years. He sounded older, tired. He said he wanted to apologize for real this time. Said prison had changed him. Given him time to think, to understand what he'd done. I almost laughed. We'd heard this before from him, from others like him. I told him to stop calling, that his apologies meant nothing, that actions mattered, not words. He said he was trying to change, going to therapy, working on himself. I said, good for him. Then hung up. He called Kay next. Same speech, same promises. She didn't even let him finish, just hung up. Blocked the number. We compared notes later, laughed about how predictable he was. Even his redemption arc was recycled. But he kept trying. Letters to the kids through lawyers, saying he wanted to make amends, to be part of their lives again. The kids weren't interested. Natalie was in college now, had a boyfriend, a life. No room for Tyler's drama. Jerry was focused on school, friends, sports, normal teenage stuff. He told Kay he didn't need a dad who chose to leave. He had Timothy, who chose to stay every day. That was enough. We found out Tyler was working construction. Cash jobs under the table. Hard to trace. But Salem was good. Kept tabs. Made sure we knew where he was, who he was targeting. We stayed ahead of him. Then Michelle called. After years of silence. Said Tyler had reached out again. Different number, different approach. Said he was dying for real this time. Cancer. Wanted to make peace before the end. She almost believed him. We told her about the last time, the fake illness, the hospital records, how he'd used it to manipulate both of us. She remembered. Said she'd blocked him, but it shook her. The audacity, using the same lie twice. Kay and I met for coffee. Talked about how exhausting it was. Always watching, always warning, always protecting others from him. We were tired, but we couldn't stop. Too many women counting on us. Too many potential victims. The website needed updating. New features, better search function, mobile app. We'd grown beyond what we'd imagined. Thousands of members, dozens of states, international, even women from Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, all sharing similar stories. I had another baby, a boy this time, named him Michael. Jerry was thrilled. Finally outnumbered the girls. Sarah and Emily loved their brother. Gentle with him, protective already. Our family felt complete, real, honest. Kay's business expanded again. Second location. Hired more people, some from our group. Women rebuilding their lives, supporting each other. Creating something positive from shared pain. It was beautiful to see. Tyler surfaced in Florida, using a new angle. Widower with young kids. Needed help. Support. A mother figure for his grieving children. The kids didn't exist. Never had. But the story worked on compassionate women, until they Googled him. 3 women contacted us in 1 week. All had matched with him. All had found our site. All had walked away. He was getting desperate, sloppy, making mistakes, using photos we already had cataloged, recycling old stories. Salem found something interesting. Tyler had tried to start his own business. Consulting firm. Completely legitimate on paper, but we knew better. Watched closer. Found the scam. Fake clients. Inflated invoices. Same old Tyler. New rapper. We tipped off the authorities anonymously. Let them investigate. Build a case. He'd violated parole anyway. Working without reporting it, using false identities. It was enough to send him back if they caught him. Jerry graduated college, got a job immediately. Good company, great benefits. Proud of him. He'd worked hard, stayed focused, built something real. Unlike his biological father who only knew how to destroy. Natalie got engaged. Art school boyfriend. Sweet guy named Kevin. Creative like her, supportive, honest. Everything Tyler wasn't. She asked Timothy to walk her down the aisle. Not a question, just fact. He was her dad. The real one. Tyler tried one more time. Showed up at Kay's house. First time in years. She wasn't home. Timothy was. Told him to leave immediately. Tyler tried to explain. Said he had rights. Timothy laughed. Said rights were earned, not demanded. The police came. Tyler left before they arrived, but it was enough. Kay filed for a restraining order. Got it immediately. Judge remembered the case. The abandonment, the lies. No sympathy for Tyler. Order granted, no contact ever. He tried with me next. Showed up at my office. My receptionist recognized him from photos I'd shared. Called security immediately. He was escorted out, banned from the building. I never even saw him. Didn't need to. The kids were shaken. Even after all these years, Tyler showing up brought back memories, fears. Kay got them back into therapy. Just a few sessions to process, to remember they were safe, that he couldn't hurt them anymore. We increased security, both of us. Cameras, alarms, made sure schools knew not to release kids to him. Probably overkill, but we'd underestimated him before. Wouldn't make that mistake again. Salem found out why Tyler was so desperate. The business thing had fallen apart. He owed money to the wrong people apparently. Needed cash fast. Thought maybe his families would help. Even after everything, the delusion was strong. We didn't help. Obviously. Let him figure it out himself. His mess, his consequences. We'd cleaned up enough of his disasters, paid enough of his bills, emotional and financial. He was on his own now. He disappeared again after that, completely off-grid. Salem lost track. No digital footprint, no sightings, nothing. It made me nervous. Tyler planning was dangerous. Tyler desperate and planning was worse. But life went on. Michael started walking. Sarah started middle school. Emily learned to read. Normal problems, normal joys. The life I'd built was solid, real. Nothing like the fantasy with Tyler. Better because it was true. Kay's store won awards, local business of the year. She gave a speech, thanked her support system, her real family, the women who'd helped her rebuild. Didn't mention Tyler once. He didn't deserve space in her success story. The website hit 1 million visitors. News outlets wanted to cover it. We declined. Didn't need the attention, the drama. We just wanted to help women quietly, effectively, without fanfare. The work mattered more than recognition. Then Tyler surfaced. Arrested in Nevada. The business scam had caught up. Federal charges this time. Wire fraud, identity theft, money laundering. The works. He'd gone big, failed big. Facing real time now. Decades, maybe. We went to the trial, Kay and I. Sat in the back, watched him in his cheap suit, looking smaller, older, defeated. When he saw us, something flickered in his eyes. Regret? Anger? I couldn't tell. Didn't care. He got 15 years federal prison. No early release. No good behavior shortcuts. Real consequences. Finally, the judge called him a predator, a manipulator, a danger to society. We nodded, vindicated. Finally, the kids didn't want to know details, just that he was gone for good this time. They had lives to live, futures to build. No room for his shadow anymore. They'd outgrown him, outgrown the pain he'd caused. I published another book about recovery, about building after betrayal. It did well, helped more people, led to speaking engagements, workshops, a whole career built from surviving Tyler. Ironic in a way. Kay and Timothy renewed their vows. 10-year anniversary. The kids participated. Jerry gave a speech about real fathers, ones who show up, who stay, who choose family every day. Not a word about Tyler. He'd been erased, replaced, forgotten. Our group evolved, became a non-profit, official board, funding employees. We could help more women, provide legal resources, therapy, referrals, safe houses. What started as survival became a mission. Tyler tried writing from prison. Letters to everyone, me, Kay, the kids, his sister, even women from the group. All playing victim, all claiming innocence, misunderstanding. We had a letter-burning party, therapeutic, cleansing, final. Sarah asked about him once, found old photos. I told her the truth, an age-appropriate version, about people who lie, who hurt others, who can't be trusted. She understood. Said she was glad we had Daddy Jerry instead. Me too, baby. Me too. The website expanded internationally, translations, local coordinators, a network of women protecting women, sharing information, preventing harm. Tyler had created this inadvertently. His legacy was our strength, our connection, our power. I retired from practice, focused on the nonprofit, writing, speaking, training others, teaching therapists about betrayal trauma, about predators like Tyler, about healing, about hope. Full circle, from victim to advocate. Kay's kids started families. Jerry married his college girlfriend, had twins, boys. Natalie adopted, a single mother by choice, strong like her mom, building families based on truth, love, choice. Everything Tyler had corrupted. We're grandmothers now, Kay and I. A weird bond, sharing grandkids who exist because we survived Tyler. Because we found each other, because we rebuilt. Our friendship outlasted his lies, stronger than his manipulation. Tyler will get out someday. An old man by then, but we'll be ready. The network will be ready. Stronger, wider, permanent. His kind of harm can't hide anymore. Technology, connection, truth, all working against predators like him. Sometimes I drive past our old house, the one I shared with Tyler. A new family lives there now. Kids playing in the yard. Normal life. And I'm grateful that my daughter will never know that kind of betrayal, that her father is exactly who he seems, that truth is her normal.